now. Never hear Donald Trump mention God in our mouth yet. And them shut off time and he must say God save him. And really and truly, he must behave now like a church person. We are telling you them again, all who are left from all over the place to go down a Montego Bay, watch out. You never say car in a hospital yet, unless it carry somebody like you in there. So we are telling you, say, the road, car, and you are the easiest one to mash up. So when you take care, I remember, say, a lot of you not only a drive by yourself, but you drive with others in the car too. We don't want to read about you tomorrow morning. You understand? Because we know it's enough when I go drive go down there, especially a whole heap of young people. We have to call them young people. So, have fun, but remember, say, the road, the car and you are the easiest one inside of that trilogy. Forget broke up. So we just tell you that. Some clips for the people them, and it seems like it find favor in the hearts of the people them. Now some people I say more a long time, you play certain clips, We not even clip them there, them is so long, but we always are showing and say, you see, them days we could have taken the chance to play all one clip for all, or 1.5 of them here, but nowadays we realize that the people them listening span short. Yeah, they don't really want to hear too a long thing. Even though them want to hear it, but them mind not give them long thing. I better them hear music. But you have certain clips where we feel like we should have playback. And we're going to play one of them now, named The Black Death. For those of you who know about European history, say this is the worst catastrophe ever happened in the history of humankind. You don't matter about African disease and them something there. Well, I want you to listen to this. It's a very serious clip. I'm going to play the short version. I'm going to play the short version. So I want you to listen to this. The Black Death, the greatest conspiracy or catastrophe ever. Listen.
In the 14th century, the Black Death swept across a Europe ridden with famine and war. In just 2 years, this terrible plague was to claim over 20 million lives. Medieval man's struggle against a mysterious disease would alter the course of European history and prove a devastating turning point. Pestis lay for hundreds of years in the blood of wild rodents. Then, in 1338, a drought or an earthquake violently disturbed the balance of nature. Driven from its natural habitat, the bacillus began a deadly exodus. From its cradle in Central Asia, the plague slowly migrated towards man. It was carried in the bloodstream of black rats and in the fleas which fed on them. The bacillus spread quickly as it moved along trade routes. A minor skirmish soon became a war. The Muslims sought help from their local Mongol prince to lay siege to the Italians inside the walls of Kaffa. The siege was almost a year, were already lined up outside the city walls. Built through the air over Kaffa's walls. Soon the rotting corpses tainted the air and poisoned the water supply. Within days, the people inside the walls of Kaffa began to die. Those merchants who could escape hurried aboard their galleys and prepared to set sail for Italy. Of the ships that were heading for the Mediterranean. Shipboard rats were diseased. The galleys sailed from port to port on their long journey back to Italy. But no one would let them dock when it was seen that the sailors were dying. In October 1347, the merchants finally reached the port of Messina in Sicily. The terrified harbour masters tried to isolate the ships, but it was already too late. Even as the first mooring ropes were being tied to move on, this brief encounter was long enough. Michael of Piazza, a Franciscan friar, received news of the outbreak of plague just days after its arrival in Sicily. He prayed to God that the disease would not spread.
Pater noster qui es in celis, sanctificetur tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostre liber nos malo. Amen.
But his prayers were not answered. Within days, everyone who had had any contact with the dying sailors was dead. After a week, the plague had spread throughout the city of Messina. Carts loaded with corpses arrived at the churches almost by the hour.
Men were borne to burial by day and night, with only a short service. The houses of the dead were shut up, for no one dared enter them.
Those living in already overcrowded houses were oblivious to the arrival of the infected black rats. Fleas thrived in the filth and clung to the clothes of the dead, which were then sold or passed on.
When anyone who is infected by the disease dies, all who visit him or do business with him, or even carry him to the grave, quickly follow him there.
As the plague spread into the surrounding country of Sicily, Friar Michael set off on a journey round the island. Believing the plague was decreed by God and that man should not oppose it, he hoped to bring spiritual comfort to the sick. Many priests had already died, but Michael was one of the few who would survive the plague and live to describe its horrors.
On the day the victim was stricken, blisters and boils appeared on the arms, legs, and neck. They so weakened and tormented his body that he had to take to his bed. Soon the boils grew to the size of a walnut, then to that of a hen's egg or a goose's egg, and they were exceedingly painful. The sickness lasted 3 days. By the 4th day, the plague had claimed another victim.
people reacted to the plague with astonishment, bewilderment, and terror. They thought they were witnessing the end of the world, God's punishment for all the sin on earth.
Kind God, I beg that your anger may cease, that you do not destroy sinners in this way, and that you do not allow the just to be condemned with the unjust.
Most people believed that the plague was literally hell on earth, the last triumph of evil before the coming of Christ in judgment. With hundreds dying every day, Michael was one of the few priests still devoted enough to give the last rites and pray for the souls of the dying.
In nome Padre, Filii, e Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
Such was the number of victims that there was no more hallowed ground in which to bury the dead. Corpses lay abandoned. Bodies were buried, hundreds at a time, in plague pits outside the city walls.
Homes. No priests, sons, fathers, or kinsmen dared to enter.
Few who caught the disease ever recovered. So rapidly did it spread that it seemed one man could infect the whole world. Means of spreading the plague. Within days of a ship putting into port, the entire town would have been exposed to the deadly bacillus. From Sicily, the plague reached the mainland and swept across Italy. Following the trade routes, it spread in all directions, covering the land with a blanket of death. Travelers told stories of deserted villages and miles of countryside littered with bodies. In early 1348, Guy de Chiliac, a cleric and the Pope's personal doctor, heard news that the Black Death was only weeks from the papal palace at Avignon. Guy studied the movement of the stars and planets and reported his findings to his master, Pope Clement VI. He explained that God's warnings, heavy clouds, blasts of hot winds, falling stars, and a column of fire seen above the papal palace all signaled that a terrible affliction was at hand.
The configuration of the heavens is the cause of this pestilence. In 1345, at 1 hour after noon on March the 20th, there was a major conjunction of 3 planets in Aquarius. This symbolized death.
At once, de Chiliac scoured the books of Arab philosophers and physicians and the reports of the medical faculty in Paris for advice on how to avert the impending disaster. The philosophers advised that the corrupted air should be purified with fire. This would drive away the infected cloud that caused the plague. So when the plague was in reach of the Pope's palace, de Chiliac ordered huge fires to be built within the papal grounds. Then the doctor arranged for the Pope to sit between them. The Pope's fires burned day and night for 4 months, while the plague raged through Avignon. No rat or flea could penetrate the intense heat. The Pope sat, protected, in splendid isolation, all through the heat of the summer. Meanwhile, in the city of Avignon, thousands continued to die. They believed that the corrupted atmosphere had infected the population with plague. Regardless of the risk to himself, Guy de Chilliac visited the sick throughout the epidemic.
The disease was most humiliating for doctors who were unable to help. If they risked visiting their patients, they could do no good and so earned no fees, for almost all the infected died.
After several grueling weeks, de Chilliac finally fell ill himself. Observing the telltale boils on his own body, he took to his bed, fearing he might have only days to live. For the next 6 weeks, he attempted to treat himself. Believing his body had been corrupted by the infected cloud, he submitted to regular bleedings, using a heated cup to draw his blood to the surface of the skin and so draw out the poisons. Whenever he could having survived the plague, de Chilliac was even more determined to continue his research. It was not long before he made a breakthrough.
It was of two types. The first with continuous fever and spitting of blood. From this, one died in 3 days.
Yes, the Black Plague. You know, a whole heap of people hear this and I know so their mind run pan COVID. But that plague was, remember the man started to begin to say 20 million people died only in Europe. Well, not only in Europe, because the ship them go across Asia there from China and go across to India and into Europe. Millions of people dead. And you know what talk? It's hygiene cause it, you know. It's not no curse of God cause it is hygiene. Because I remember telling people they never know nothing about bathing, you know. Why you know that, you know, them people they never bathe. See, a black people going to Europe will show them say them can't have bath and all them play thing there. When Queen Elizabeth I, we say that so many times, Queen Elizabeth I is a woman who bathed twice a year. Twice a year. It's in a film book, not my book. And she was the one we call herself the Virgin Queen. All her life, the Virgin Queen. She did have so much blemish and things on her face that she did have to put on makeup, make down on it all her life. Her face did have her makeup because she never want nobody to see her face. But the Black Plague, I can't do what them call it, devastate Europe, devastate it. It's a plague will take over the whole of Europe and kill nearly, well, I think it's about 3/4 of the population dead, you know. Anyway, them say 20 million people dead in that plague. And like the COVID, where you hear people are talk about, it come from over in Asia there. Through rats. The boat, them, in them days, they did have rowboat. The rat, them, come off of the ship and go amongst the population. And them people that me say, them hygiene was led to be questionable. Them never have no hygienic etiquette. It was terrible. These people, them do what them are doing in a bag and throw it out of them window. You think Europe easy? Them think them not telling you in a school, you know, them tell you about how they make you feel like Europe was hunky-donkey all the while. And when you look at Africa, it's terrible. But this plague make you know, say, so all the religious people, them crazy when they attack. Crazy when they attack. So we're going to go back to it. Here we go.
One died in 3 days. The second, also with continuous fever, but with carbuncles on the armpits and groin. From this, one died in 5 days.
De Chilliac had correctly diagnosed that there were 2 types of plague, and that the first, pneumonic plague, was more infectious and more deadly than the second, bubonic plague. So remarkable was this discovery that the Pope for the first time gave his blessing to the dissection of the dead, which had previously been forbidden as a sin. Most people had no confidence in doctors. The rich simply fled from the plague, but most could not. Sometimes the sick were even bricked up in their houses to stop the disease from spreading, but to no avail. Some tried to find their own cures. They took pills made of stag's horn or potions of powdered gold. Desperate times called for desperate measures.
Take a live frog and lay the belly of it next to the plague sore. If the patient will escape the plague, the frog will burst.
Having escaped the plague, the Pope sought to prevent its spread elsewhere. He ordered devout processions and encouraged ceremonies that involved a new sect, the Flagellants.
Miserere nobis, Domine. Miserere nobis, Domine.
They practiced self-flagellation in an attempt to purge mankind of sin. Flagellants roamed the countryside, believing that their self-imposed pain and suffering would cause God to lift his curse and save the world. Before long, the Flagellants openly criticized the Catholic Church for failing the people at this crucial time. They interrupted religious services and looted church property. In their search for scapegoats, they falsely accused the Jews of poisoning the drinking water. Throughout Europe, Jews were massacred. The Pope realized that the movement he himself had encouraged was now a grave threat to public order. He sent letters to the kings of Europe, ordering them to suppress the Flagellants. The movement disappeared, but their dissent added to a growing feeling that perhaps the established church was no longer absolute. This dissension would resurface 150 years later in the Great Reformation. The plague would stay in any one place for several months and then move on. In just 2 years, it had swept across Western Europe, spread north over to England, and then finally to Scandinavia. By 1350, it had run its course. The Black Death killed a third of Europe's population. Over 20 million people died. This devastation was a turning point that changed the face of Europe beyond recognition. Michael of Piazza recorded the chaos that the plague had left in its wake. Families were torn apart, villages deserted, business collapsed, states bankrupted by loss of taxes. Those who survived bore the burden of guilt. A new mentality emerged. There was a strengthened belief in God, but an increased skepticism about the established church. Shortage of labor remained a mystery until the late 19th century. It was then discovered that the rats and fleas were the carriers of the bacillus, but that it was the fleas that transmitted the disease from the rats to man. A single flea bite can cause death. After the Black Death, the plague returned to haunt Europe every few decades until the mid-17th century, though never again with the ferocity of that first outbreak. Even today, the terror that it created can still be heard in the nursery rhyme that children sing.
Walking for the place,
So we all fall down.
Yes. Black Death. That's, yeah, that nursery rhyme where them children are sing. Ring a rose, your pocket full of rose. Ashama, I'll fall do. Well, we used to go to school that to say. Imagine we are say it, and we don't know why them did I say it. So we are bring down the thing and we ourselves, and we don't know why them did I sing. And them call it nursery rhyme. That was because of this. Them call it Black Plague or the Black Death. Europe go through its Armageddon. That's all. And you know, they say every time something happens, where it's catastrophe, people turn to God for help. And when you look on it, there's no help. Because all of these things is man make it happen. Man make it happen. It's not no God I bring down no retribution from people. It's the living style and the ways of man cause all of these devastation to take place. It can be prevented and it can the destruction can be lessened if man just take the initiative in himself to do what I'm supposed to do to alleviate the problems them. So if something happen, like all the hurricane we just gone to Jamaica now, people go to church more. Wow, people go to church more and feel say there's something out there that them can talk to and pray to that will alleviate the destruction. If an earthquake come, not everybody, bawl out, God help you, God help you. And the problem with Jamaica, where Jamaica have now, if a hurricane supposed to come and it not come, everybody about out, why Jamaica is a blessed country. And it goes somewhere, it's going to lick another country, Them say Jamaica is a blessed country. Hurricane lick Jamaica and a whole heap of people feel it in a Kingston. But it's mash up St. Elizabeth. And the people in a Kingston say, why? We're blessed, man. We're blessed. People sometimes ever say them a prayer. Prayer. Past make him feel like him have more power when certain disasters take place because he might tell you more and more. Church full up, him get more collection. And him a ball out about because I have a prayer for all this and pray for this and pray for that. It's not going to work. It's not so prayers go. Prayers is for the person, the individual. No mass prayer now alleviate nothing. You have to get up and do things. Clean out your gully them. Don't build no house in the gully bank. If certain tree are going to lick, if you feel a certain tree are going to lick down your house, limit. It's just simple. People always are telling you about why God not now coming out. God now go do this and God now go do that. You think nature business about no God? Nature no business about no God. Nature work according to its nature. Nature work according to its nature. Human beings want nature to work according to in belief. Man belief cannot direct the course of nature. Man action cause the course of nature and also can prevent the course of nature to alleviate certain problem for him and living things. Nature is not answerable to know God. It's just simple. So one have to recognize how important it is that we don't go down on our knee and pray. You know, I always tell a story of the man. Him believe in a lottery. And every day I pray, say I'm going to win the lottery. Every day I pray. And one time God answered him and said, why you don't buy a ticket? Buy a ticket, or you want to win lottery and have no ticket. And that is the way a whole heap of human beings become stupid. Because them feel say, chew them a prayer every day. And a class them and a prayer. You know, thank you, Lord, for giving me food when your parents gave the food. You should have thanked your parents for giving the food. God is a concept. God is an idea. It has nothing to do with human being reality. Reality is what nature has to offer. And man make nature become angry with him corruption and him deeds and him doings where him perform upon the earth, yeah. And when him done do all of those things, him turn to God. Instead of him really try regulate nature. Him can regulate nature. It's not like him can't do nothing about it. Him can regulate nature and cause it not to be so terrible upon him. Just play a while ago about the Black Death that killed off 20 million Europeans in Europe, a disease that caused Christians to kill, well, put it another way, white people start to kill the Muslims. And you know the Muslims, they were there was black people in Europe, especially in Spain and Italy. A whole heap of, what them call them the Moors of Spain. They were Muslims. And they were blamed, a lot of them was blamed, for this plague that take over Europe. Not realizing that it's the hygiene of the people them that was causing it. And them says rat and insect do it. And them never understand how to get rid of these plagues. So millions of them dead. And meanwhile, millions of them are dead. Them are kill other people to say, it's them heathen ways. The God with them are praise cause it. Yet still the God with them are praise never stop it. That terrible thing. Terrible thing. The God where the Muslim them are praise. Them say at them cause it. The God with them are praise. Never stop it. We kill millions of people. And we see the same mindset rivet in a way or so. And all over the world, what them call the Western world. And the rain and fall according to nature. It's so nature work. And man, corrupted mind with the ideas that him put in the corruption, sometimes cause the thing to get worse. And him start to invent things to work against nature. And him create things to work against himself. Most of the disease where afflict we start from man perception of nature, and him get the wrong perception of nature. And him himself is nature, part of nature. And him don't know if to take care of nature. So things start to happen. And when it start to happen, people start to pray more. When close the gate when the house gone through. We have to return to understanding of self. We have to return to the understanding of nature and our life forms are on this planet. We are talking about the trees. We are talking about the earth. We are talking about human beings. The rain, earthquake, lightning, thunder, all of these things is part of nature. Everything on the earth is part of nature. But man deceive himself and feels him can go outside of that and make life better for him. When all the madness develop, madness and more madness and more madness, disease on top of disease on top of disease. And when him create the disease, him create something now to subdue the disease. That is the ways of man. When we did there Africa, we did have certain problems, but the disease we afflict with now. A whole heap of them disease and never the Africa. And as a matter of fact, a whole heap of the disease them now, where we say I stem up. It's mostly black people and black women are dead from them. And it's a great problem mostly in black people. Whole heap of the disease here them come on and say it's mostly black males. You know, like prostate cancer. And most of the black people dead from that. Black man dead from prostate cancer. Same thing with breast cancer. Black woman and most of the black woman dead from certain disease. We never used to know about them things there when we were in Africa. But we're in a better society now. We're in a more advanced society now. Yet still, we have guns and fast cars and fast food. All of these things is preserved in the Western world. And we, as nature people of nature, is still trying to come to grips with this new way of life and thinking. That's a serious thing. And we refuse to wake up. Because even me attack you so now, you have people don't have them radio because they must say, you're the mad boy attack you so now. Yeah. Barefoot boy. Yeah, so them think it, I don't know, so that's how they think. That's how they think. But we have faith in a human beings. And all me can do is just hope, say, my life, I live it a certain way where it's pleasing to me and those around me. Yes. You try your best not to facilitate evil in your system nor around you. People say enough to trust nobody, enough to trust your friend, and this and that and bad mind and all that something. The love we man a search for get hidden. Donald Trump, you know, say Donald Trump now. Never hear Donald Trump mention God in our mouth yet. And them shut off time and he must say God save him. And really and truly, he must behave now like a church person. It take a man to fire a bullet of time. And you know the people must say, same thing like what Jamaica say. A God send a brother there. They say a God send the brother. I dig up them old tune, you know, dig up them things, you have to come bring them forward. Yeah, man. Too much tune out there, people just have play the same thing every day. If we bring up forward some of them old time tune and some will never get no whole heap of earplay, you understand? Yes, and that's how we hear me now for the rest of the year. So you know, we are talking about this thing will take place how much years ago in Europe, and people did have to recognize that as many times this thing passed through, because you have one in I think 1918, same way like the COVID will just pass, where the soldier them will come from Europe, spread it. Yeah, the soldier them come from Europe and spread it. And at the same so-called precautions, but them didn't have the idea of the COVID. At the same thing them tell the people them in the 1918 for do. Wear masks and stay in them house and all them things there. Whole heap of people dead that time too. And they will say one come here so now in my lifetime, you know. Disease again. Whole heap of people dead. And not stop dead. We just see Joe Biden just catch COVID yesterday. Or the day before. Yes. Them test Joe Biden for COVID. And him test and him have COVID. So all that no gone yet. I tell you what a pricky. My mother used to say, what a pricky. I want you to listen to this.
When asked what surprised him most about humanity, the Dalai Lama answered, "We sacrifice our health in order to make wealth. Then we sacrifice our wealth in order to get back our health. We're so anxious about what will happen in the future that we don't enjoy the present. The result being, we don't live in the present or the future. We end up living feeling like we're never going to die, and then die never having truly lived." Ellen Goodman said normal is getting dressed in clothes that you buy for work and driving through traffic in a car that you're still paying for in order to get to the job that you need to pay for the clothes and car and a home that's empty all day just so you can afford to live in it. We live in a world where daydreams are more common than dream jobs, where money clouds our search for meaning. In search for profit, we sacrifice our quest for purpose, and in the pursuit of those paychecks, we give up our passion. We're completely rooted to our routines. We're plagued by indecision and lack of vision. They say that the most powerful prison is one when you don't even know that you're locked up. See, the suits are our uniforms. Our cufflinks are the handcuffs. Our ties are the chains. Our boss is like the guard, and well, our cubicles are our cells. And now I know why they call it the glass ceiling, because it shatters our dreams. The only thing we excel at is Microsoft. Now that's a PowerPoint. You know what it's like. We spend the whole day trying to get our work on time, but then spend all of our time thinking about work. We wish for our asked about humanity. The Dalai Lama answered, "We sacrifice our health in order to make wealth. Then we sacrifice our wealth in order to get back our health. We're so anxious about what will happen in the future that we don't enjoy the present. The result being, we don't live in the present or the future. We end up living feeling like we're never going to die, and then die never having truly lived." Ellen Goodman said normal is getting dressed in clothes that you buy for work and driving through traffic in a car that you're still paying for in order to get to the job that you need to pay for the clothes and car and a home that's empty all day just so you can afford to live in it. We live in a world where daydreams are more common than dream jobs, where money clouds our search for meaning. In search for profit, we sacrifice our quest for purpose, and in the pursuit of those paychecks, we give up our passion. We're completely rooted to our routines. We're plagued by indecision and lack of vision. They say that the most powerful prison is one when you don't even know that you're locked up. See, the suits are our uniforms. Our cufflinks are the handcuffs. Our ties are the chains. Our boss is like the guard, and well, our cubicles are our cells. And now I know why they call it the glass ceiling, because it shatters our dreams. The only thing we excel at is Microsoft. Now that's a PowerPoint. You know what it's like. We spend the whole day trying to get our work on time, but then spend all of our time thinking about work. We wish our out of office could be permanent. We wish that our inbox would always remain empty. Our LinkedIn resumes are more interesting than our actual jobs. Our profile pictures are the happiest we've been in a long time. We live for the weekend, but then end up feeling weak, clockwork and monotony. But honestly, could Mondays be more meaningful? Could Tuesdays be less torture? Could Wednesdays be more worth it? Could Thursdays be more transformative? Could Fridays be more fulfilling? We count down the next 50 weeks knowing that there's another 50 years. We count down for the next escape knowing that there really isn't one. Because even when we're away from our desks, our minds are still there with the checklists in our heads. We stuff ourselves into our work clothes, then our buses, then the cars, then the trains, and then our offices, only to wait 5 days to live again. And we don't have time to eat dinner together, so we end up eating out of takeaway boxes, not realizing that the TV box takes away from our relationships. We eat on the go, meet on the go, we even sleep on the go, and then wonder why everyone cheats on the go. We're told it's normal to have a 9 to 5. I mean, actually, sorry, it's a 9 to 9. And it's fine if you don't get enough time with the person you love it took you so long to find. It's normal to work late nights for that next holiday. We work 11 months in a row for 1 month of leave with pay. Hey, who came up with that? It's not normal. We have to reclaim our lives because right now we can all barely survive. And because when he comes late home from work, she says, you work so hard for a job that would replace you tomorrow if you drop dead. And he says, I don't have time for this right now. And then she says, nothing ever changes. We force ourselves out of bed to live the same day again and again and call it a life. Imagine this for a moment. What if Oprah listened to her haters and doubters? What if Steve Jobs settled for a real job? What if The Rock never broke through depression? What if Ellen never overcame the bullying? Imagine a world where everyone lived their passion. We'd be better people. We'd be better partners. We'd be better parents. See, I've never seen a strong person with an easy past. We all have a passion. We all have a genius inside us. We have that potential. I know that we've all been in that position, feeling confused and seriously lacking mission. But then I ask myself, at the end of my life, what will I regret? And the answer is clear. The pain of regret far outweighs the pain of risk. So next time you're going through challenges, just remember this. A winner is just a loser who tried one more time. All you need is one person to say yes. One moment can change everything. There are decades when nothing happens, and there are days where decades happen. A year from now, you will have wished you started today.
We need a whole heap of that teaching to get us out of a whole heap of mental slavery. It's only him that said that, you know. Him same one Marcus Garvey said that. But it's very difficult. Very difficult. If a man say $1 million in a hole, you know, and him feel like he want to go down in the hole for $1 million, even them don't know how he's going to come out back. It look nice down there. The $1 million make the hole look nice. And that's the way of us. We want easy way out, easy way in, and we don't know how to get out. And them say we get cursed. Yes, man. African people, I say them curse. Then if you curse, where is that thing that's supposed to get us out of that curse? That thing that's supposed to be inside of us. The reason why it's not working is because we think that the thing that's going to take off the chain is outside of us. That is really what we are looking for. We are looking for something outside ourselves to free us. The man say, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Let him say, yourself. Very important. None but ourselves can free we. So that is really what we have to hang on to. Those words is very potent in the liberation movement.
There. Every sister will be natural in a month. I'm serious. Black, main reason our women are imitating Caucasians is because they notice that we are only attracted or largely attracted to black women who have a European phenotype. And so the black woman is trying to emulate that person that she sees we are most attracted to. The black man is the main reason the black woman isn't natural. I totally agree with you. And brothers, that's on us. And some of y'all letting your wife perm your daughter's hair at 4 and 5 years old. And black women, I don't know if y'all saw the news, the fibroid tumors. Black women are 75% more likely to end up with fibroids, and they have now been undeniably connected to perm and weave. And guess what? I was in China. Guess what I learned in China? Chinese women, they're not allowed to sell the relaxer they ship over here to Chinese women. And even the wigs and weaves that y'all wear have toxic chemicals in them that seep down into the blood-brain barrier, and that's why so many black women are coming up with brain cancer. We are literally...
Yes, black woman, you literally kill yourself. Here we go.
Worst evil people tend to be religious people. Because if they can't control you, they will quote the Bible and use that to control you. Highly religious people will say things like, God told me. Well, great. He can tell me. I prayed about it. Who did you talk to? Satan will abuse the Bible, and religious people will weaponize the Bible to control you.
And that's not a mistake. That's not an act to teach them what the rich know. What the rich teach their kids about money, the poor middle class do not. You're a rich man. The people that are being screwed today are the poor middle class because they work for money. You know, the banker, they're not working for work hard, save money, and invest in a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. That's not it. The financial industry is two things: debt and taxes. Debt and taxes. And we still tell kids to go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, and get out of debt. Now, who tells them to do that? That's the most ridiculous thing there is.
The book starts and it says, lie number 1, saving money will make you rich.
Yeah, it never will. You know that.
All taught that as kids.
Yeah, because they can print it. Why would you save it and why would you work for it if they can print it faster than you can work for it? And, you know, when I'm in Japan, that's what I mean by fear. They're so afraid because of Abenomics is just printing trillions of it and buying ETFs with it, and they don't know what to do. They're afraid they might make a mistake. They're good little students in school. Go to school, get a job, don't make mistakes. And right now, as you know, for the middle class of the world, we're in a crash. The purchasing power of the yen, the euro, the rupiah, all going down. And people are working harder and harder and harder, and the central banks of the world are printing more money.
And so if someone's listening to us that's stuck in that poor middle-class trap and they hear it's their fear that ultimately is keeping them from that, that's a hard thing to hear, Robert. But you're going to give them the information about what they can do if they can get out of that fear.
Well, every time I do a lot of speaking to the masses out there. Lehman doesn't invite me in because we're gone, but I go, what, it's so risky. What you're saying is risky for me, but it's risky for you. And when somebody says, what is risk? You have to look in the mirror. Do you know what I mean? For me to fly in Vietnam, that was high risk. But the higher the risk of that, then you should do what Wall Street tells you to do. Buy 401ks, mutual funds, ETFs, and all that. But that's where they're fake assets, because they only make Wall Street or the City of London rich. Just watch where the cash is flowing. Follow the money. Listen. So earned income is if I get a job, that's earned income. If I'm a doctor or a programmer, that's earned income because I'm working for it. If I buy, let's say, Apple for $10 and I send it for $20, that's portfolio income, capital gains.
Yeah.
But passive income, which is cash flow, is never taxed. So it's not, and so these guys are screaming right now in America, tax the rich. I said, good luck. Because most of the guys complaining, they don't know there's three kinds of income. And the rich don't have jobs anyway. They have assets. And so the average schmo out there, poor guy, sent the kid to school. They don't learn this. So that's why in fake, as you were talking about it, there's a newspaper article about Jared Kushner. And he explains how the Trumps and the Kushners don't pay taxes and make millions of dollars. And the reporter couldn't understand him because our schools will never teach you that three types of income.
And they judged him and say they're wrong and it's cheating. And we see that over and over again. Amazon not paying taxes. What do you say to people when they come up to you and say, Robert?
Coin, heads, tails, and the edge. So which side of the coin are you on? From my side, it's fair. But this is the difference. Everybody can do the same thing I do because the tax laws are for everybody. We don't say, well, the tax laws are only for the rich. No, the tax laws are for everybody to use if you have the right financial education. And the reason I'm an advocate of financial education, without that education, you have to pay taxes. You see, very few people will buy what I do, make $1 million and pay zero tax. That takes, and my rich dad taught me that playing Monopoly. That's how it started. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. Or the McDonald's formula. I write about it here. McDonald's, Ray Kroc.
Yeah.
McDonald's is in the real estate business. So they sell hamburgers, but they buy real estate, so they pay no taxes. This guy Bezos, he's $16 billion. How much tax do they pay on that $16 billion? Zero.
And that's all legal. Anyone can do it.
Everybody can do
it. Most people lack the education.
Correct.
So Jared learned about money when he was a kid by watching his father, by watching these people invest in real estate and said, wow, not only do you get to make the money, you get to keep the money. That's a big problem a lot of people don't understand. They, look how much money I made, but how much did you keep? Because that could be half.
What tax did you pay?
Right, what tax did you pay? And so you always say this is the law. The law is true for every citizen. You can do it, but most people just don't do it. Sometimes, like you said, they don't have the education. But you need to have a plan if you're going to go do risky things.
Well, it's not risky. To me, what's risky is having a job and paying taxes and saving money because they're printing it. That's the worst thing of all. And that's why there's fake money, fake teachers. The teachers they don't know it.
Right.
And fake assets because Wall Street or the City of London or Lehman Brothers or Goldman and all, they're not going to tell you this.
Yeah.
How are there billionaire bankers today? Aren't they supposed to be watching your money,
You said in here also, the greatest asset you have is your mind. What does that mean?
If you really want to be rich, take a class on real estate. Once you understand real estate is based on debt, learn how to use debt as money. So once you learn how to use debt as money, you can never say, I can't afford it. See, because the banks will give you, so the banks, after the crash of 2008, the banks gave me $300 million tax-free to buy real estate that the idiots had lost. I hate this, and that they were idiots because the prices were so high. Why would you buy it at the top of a market? Don't you know that's going to crash? No. This is, that was the subprime was the derivatives market, the MBSs and all that stuff. Had driven the price of real estate so high, and the rest of us were just waiting. And then when the whole thing came crashing down, all this real estate was now available, and they needed, the Fed and those guys in the Treasury needed guys like us to go in there. So Wall Street gave us hundreds of millions of dollars to mop up all that real estate these guys had lost. Now, it's fair because everybody could do it. So, when I asked the average guy, I said, why don't you use debt? They can't even get a loan because their scores, their FICO scores, I don't even have them here, are so bad.
Right.
So that's what's going on in the world today. It's fake money, fake teachers, fake assets. The school teachers will never tell you that because they don't know it. My poor dad never knew that. The rules are the same, but you have to do what the government wants you to do. Never say, I can't afford it. Ask yourself, how can I? The reason I have so much money is because I don't say I can't do it. I just go, how can I do it? And I just go and do it. I make a lot of mistakes, but that's how I learn. How can I? It's just a matter of personal willpower, which is spiritual. Just saying, if they can do it, I can do it.
And how can I?
How can I?
And I think it's you once said, words become flesh.
Yep.
More than a radio program, it's an institution on radio. The Cutting Edge on IRI FM with Mutabaruka.
Favorite a cappella group of all times, man. Sweet Honey in the Rock. Great sisters them, I tell you. Great sisters. We're going to continue with them. Here we go. And the mouth and the body. These sisters, Sweet Honey in the Rock. I tell you, man, see them perform is another thing. I think them come here one time, I think them in a Emancipation Park. One time I will have the opportunity to perform with them in Washington. Big concert, me and them in Washington there. And we actually do a rendition of one of my poems with them. I back me up with them body. When I say them body, means say them a lick them chest, them a make sound with them voice. Anything we can make music on them body, them use it. Sweet Honey in the Rock. Great, great musicians and artists them. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
Denzel Washington. Great speech, great speech. So here I know. Things get complicated, that's all. Trust me. Very, very complicated. I don't know where I go on, that's all. I have to do this. Trust me. It's kind of weird. All right. So, we will come forward there from 2 o'clock to 5:45 with the stepping razor. That is when we do a different thing. We want to talk about Trump and them whole heap of things where I go on without this. So, and we want to talk about this trial that just done where the government against the people and this lax and the sister where them never want to go to school. 6 years ago, I think it happened. When the case just done and the appeal court ruled against the government. Can you believe that? Them say it's unconstitutional for you prevent a person with locks to come to your school. But we don't know that this government that them have here is a government that fight against Rasta for years and name all of the atrocities them against Rasta. And you realize it's the Jamaica Labour Party government that has been persecuting Rasta to the point where it's the same 6 years ago when them stopped the little girl from, a little girl or a little boy, the little girl from go school. them say the reason why them stop her is because them afraid of Jonjo and lice. Jonjo and lice. Can you believe that? And the biggest part I got them say, the parents never tell them say it's a Rasta religion them are defend. That means what them say no. Them say if it was a Rasta religion, she could have come. But all you know say, if she was a Rasta and come to school with her locks, it wouldn't have Jonjo and lies. What kind of craziness argument is that? What kind of madness is that them talk about? So you can't come to school with your locks because Jonjo and lies is unhygienic. Yes, still them say, if you can't bring a paper, your parents for sure say you have a religion, a certain religion, you can't come. You know, she said that no hold no water. That no hold no water at all. No water at all. So, yes, it's a thing with these people. Them things that we don't know them. Some little Christian-minded, mostly female, mostly government people who are teaching people them from a certain Christian religion who are talk about Rasta, locks, can't come to school because Jonjo and lice. Me never have Jonjo and lice in my head yet. My people them never have Jonjo. As a matter of fact, one school where she did go, one ballad you come to school with lice. Ballad come to school with lice. And then them a turn around and tell you about we can't go to them school because Jonjo and lice going to take up the other people. Why was that thing we have to go through, Rasta? What's that thing Rasta have to go through? Hey, Rasta people, Rasta brethren and sisters, wanna stop going like say they love we, you know, they don't love we. Them no love we. If them could have a Jamaica without Rasta, them would have feel good, but I don't know where them would have do. A Rasta put Jamaica on the map. Rasta put Jamaica on the map. The biggest thing that come out of Jamaica is a cultural expression of Rastafari. Biggest thing. We hear about Bolt and all these people who come out of Jamaica. But Rastafari, cultural expression that come out any Caribbean island you can mention, not only Jamaica, any Caribbean island you can mention, Rasta is known. That is really what we must realize. So when we hear this government it out against locks in a school, the man them, the appeal court say, no, it can't work that way there. I want to get them full talk there. But that is unconstitutional, it's against the right of the people them. So them start to tell you all sort of thing. Them tell you all sort of thing. If you know that Jamaica you're there. At Jamaica you're there. And you have to go to court, but defend your ear. Eh? Go defend your ear. That is a cultural expression. Black people, cultural expression that. You shouldn't have to go to court to go defend that. So you know, say, them backward thinking people. Totally backward. And when you say people so backward, you know, so you have to watch them keenly. Yeah, you have to watch them keenly. Because other things upon their mind about you. other things upon their mind about you. And them no want to show it. But as you turn your back, them show it. So here we know. We hear Trump say, I talk to my brethren, them are listening in New York and all them place, LA, Florida. Trump say, I'm going to deport all of you know. Trump say, I'm going to deport all of you know. So better praise him now win, you know, even though it look like him going to win, but praise him now win because them people are not easy. And even though you might feel so you're dead a couple years well, and nobody never said to you, say nothing to you. Well, this man you look like him so terrible that him going to deport all out now. I know some brethren will have youth up there, you know, and get deported, you know. Can you imagine that? Living in him house, couple years well, have picnic, and I move up and down, and just let him down, what them call it, legal. Well, this man here, Donald Trump say, when him win, he might go deport all out now. So, I don't know what going to happen, because it's hard when a man develop him family in a man country, and then he say him have to leave the country, and can't come back. Believe you, me, is a rough thing.